Hi, Flosstube. My name is Heather Miller, and this is my cross-stitch channel called The Mirror Image Stitcher. I want to welcome you to my first Flosstube. I'm very excited to do this today and get my foot into the ocean of Flosstube. Okay, I have some notes here. I'm going to try to follow. I have a lot of friends out there that I have met through YouTube, and I want to welcome everyone. I'm so thankful to be a part of this community. So my name is Heather Miller, and I live in southern Alberta, Canada. And I live out on an acreage, and I am a registered nurse. I have two adult boys of my own, and then my husband has 3 adult children. We have outside cats and we have a dog, and that's our family. So how did I get into Flosstube? How did I get into cross-stitching? So back when I was young, my grandmother cross-stitched, and so I watched her cross-stitch. She did not ever teach me anything about it, but I watched her do it and I saw her products and I thought they were lovely. Now, when I went to nursing school, I met up with a really good friend that I kind of spent the 3 years with. We were sort of together as friends going through nursing school, and she was a cross-stitcher. And so that's when I picked up the craft. So 1989-ish, 90, somewhere in there. And really all I had to go on was magazines that you could buy at the grocery store, from what I remember my grandma doing it and from my friend helping me. So I just brought a magazine. This is one of the first magazines or that you could buy at the grocery store at that time. And this was my favorite one. And it was called For the Love of Cross Stitch. And if you look in the back, very similar to modern day cross-stitching magazines today, you got directions on how to form the stitches. And that's kind of all I really had to go on. So I'm cross-stitching through my way through nursing school. And when I went back home, we had a local quilt store, and I really always wanted to quilt, but it just was financially not something I could do. And so but I'd often go in and look at the fabrics and stuff. I always wanted to sew a bit of garment sewing, but I was terrible at it and could not even wear anything I ever made. But I like looking at the fabrics. And one of the times when I went in, they had this really amazing book. And it's called Linen Stitches, and it's by Ginny Thompson. And this book taught me about how to sew on linen. So this is about the author, and she does a tribute to Pat Carson. And it began to teach me some of those first stitches on how to do linen, to stitch on linen. And so this book was really inseparable. It was really what got me going and taught me more. Just, there's no right or wrong, but sort of best practice. And so I felt like that really gave me a lot. So I stitched for quite a few years. I stitched, from 1989 to 90 to about 2010. And about then, I kind of got out of quilting. I got divorced, I moved, and I was closer to my mom, and she did a lot of sewing and started doing quilting. I had someone to quilt with. I had more money then. I was financially better off. And so then I could go ahead and I tried quilting. So that was kind of a year, about 10 years of quilting, 10 years of not doing cross stitch. Although I look around my home and I see like a little pot holder or tea towels, and they've got dates on them, and they're in those since 2010 to sort of 2020, and they've got dates on them, and I don't remember stitching them, but I had to have been still stitching because it's proof is right there. But anyway, so I must have been doing little things, which I often did back then. Was I'd work on one big project, I got sick of it, I would take a little thing, do a tea towel, then go back to that. Then maybe someone at church was having a baby and I would use like that waste canvas. I'd put something on a little onesie and like buy a package of 3 onesies and put some cross stitch a little thing on it, a little motif on the top, and give it as a gift. So now 2020, and I'm kind of getting sick of quilting. I'm kind of a bit burned out by it. And I'm like, I'm an avid YouTube watcher by this point. I'm paying for YouTube, I'm watching it. And I was just like, what is this Flosstube? What is this? I'm like, a few of my channels, are labeled Flosstube. And I'm like, what is this? So I got looking at this, and all of a sudden the light bulb, I'm like, this is all about cross stitch. I couldn't believe it. It was amazing. So I'm shut this stuff off. I come downstairs. I'm hauling out all my old supplies, bringing them upstairs, looking through things. I've got the entire living room is covered in boxes, and fabrics are out, and my DMC are everywhere, books. My husband comes home and he's like, what happened? It looks like your craft room like puked all over the living room. And I'm like, yeah, it did. I just found Flosstube. So anyway, that was back again to cross stitching on a regular basis. And I just love it. It was kind of like really my first passion in life. And sometimes we need a break from some things. We try other types of hobbies and crafts and other creative outlets. And so it was really great to get back into cross stitch again. It felt like my heart kind of came home, sort of thing. And that's where I am. I still do a lot of quilting. So I'm really hoping to maybe show some of that on in separate YouTube videos. Okay, so one of the first things that I cross-stitched was from this book by Elma Lynn. And she became, at that time, my most favorite cross-stitch designer. Very country, very 80-ish, 90s or 90s looking, 2000s. I believe the book is 1994. And I have done a few things out of this book. She was my favorite. I loved every pattern. I would have loved to have stitched every single thing. And there are ones I'm going to go back to. I want to show you 2 of what I did because they're a pair. So the first one I did was the little girl, and I had it framed. Let's see, like that. And she was very cute. I loved it. It's got a date that I was done in 91. I'm not sure how that works because the book says it's copyright 1994. I don't know. I can't explain that. But anyway, this is what I did, and I loved it. Back in those days, though, I was excruciatingly slow at cross stitching, and so did not get lots of finishes. So this would have been done back in nursing school because I graduated from nursing school in 92. Okay. Then the pair to that is this guy. Let's see. And I thought they were super, super cute. And I still like a lot of her patterns. This one, it's got a date of 1994. Lots of backstitch. But I actually don't mind that. I think it really does a good job, and I love them. But the nice pinks and blues and all those colors of the early 90s kind of thing. So I have some more, but I'm going to show you some more in other floss tubes that I finished. So present day. I'm going to show you finish now. So, well, mostly finish. I have got a board that I'm going to try to put this on to make it easier to see. Okay. Try to do this. This is a chart called Tulip House, and it is a new designer. She's a young gal from Ontario, actually, and her YouTube channel is called Home of the Wildflowers, and she's just dipped her toe into doing some charting, and so I thought that I would give hers a try because I really thought this one was cute. Now her chart has some butterflies that still need to be done up here. I like to do some embellishing. I like to add buttons to my work, and so I thought the next time I go to the store that I can buy things from, I would check it out, and then I would put those buttons on first and then add a couple of the other butterflies that she has charted. So her Etsy store is, oh, I can't remember. Just a minute. I know I took a picture on my phone because I wanted to remember this stuff. Okay. It's called Sweet Violet Stitch Co., and that's the actual chart. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to get into my whips. My first whip is, I have lots of lovely YouTubers that I watch, and there's a lot that are second place. They're all tied for second place, but I do have to say my most favorite YouTube channel to watch is Sarah and Kim of Stitch and Studs. They are just absolutely my favorite two ladies in the whole wide world. Stitch and Stuff, Kim and Sarah. They're a mother and daughter team, and I love them to death. One point they were doing a Barbara Burgeot Richards stitch along. And so this is the chart that I chose to do. You just had to do anything. And again, this is back in a 90s sort of pattern. And this is where I am at. So I have some flowers that require beading. It says for French knots, but I got some beads given to me, and so I'm going to use those beads on that side. I have to bead a little bit up in here, and then there's the goose that's over on this side. And then that will be done. Now, the one thing that I did try was couching. I watched a video, it was about couching instead of backstitching, and either I was doing it wrong or what, but I did not like it. It did not come out well. I did not like it. So I kind of am irritated by myself at some of the spots. but I have to live with it now. So, so that is that. Sorry, things here. Okay, I forgot to tell you about some of the fabrics, but the fabric is nice. This one is a hand dyed by Rolanda. I'm sorry, I should bring this up. This is a hand dyed by Rolanda. She's a Canadian dyer. She cross-stitching place to buy stuff, and it's a 32 count. The other one was actually a piece, the Tulip House was a piece of her fabric, but it was a 28 count, and it was a hand-dyed fabric as well. Okay, the next one is my next whip. Basically, I am mostly a seasonal stitcher, and so what I'm showing you today is my spring, summer, what I would consider my spring, summer stitches. This is the pattern. It's called Anything Grows. And it's a 3D greenhouse. It is being stitched on a 14 count light oatmeal Aida. And it's from this magazine, The Cross Stitcher, September 2021. And I started this May 17th of 22. So that's, and I believe that, that this is an old piece of Aida that I had from back in the day. So. All right, so there it is. I don't have a lot of it done. It's been a while since I've gotten back to this. But it's cute. The only thing that I've done different is that the white was not showing up on this. And so I've had to outline it in, backstitch it in gray to make it stick out more. I think it was a different color fabric and I didn't have it. And so I was trying to make something work. And so now I kind of have to have added a bit of work to that. Yeah, okay. I actually forgot. I wanted to show you with Kim and Sarah Stitch and Stuff. This was my first Barbara Bergeau Richards print. And I actually forgot to show that to you. So this is the first chart that I did in that kind of Sal series. And I turned it into my project bag for those. Because I have a few more of hers that I want to stitch. This garden one is in a bag that I made myself. And I use the tutorial that Elizabeth can stitch. Elizabeth can stitch. I used her tutorial to make that bag. Okay. So the next one is a bit of a love-hate relationship. First of all, this is the bag that it's in. And I had cross-stitched that chart. It's something I got off of Etsy. I don't remember the Etsy store. If somebody wanted to know, you could just put in the comment and I'll see if I can look it up. But that's a bag that I made. And this was a different tutorial. I don't remember the person's name, but it was another bag tutorial I watched to do that. And in here are the Joyful World series, monthly series by the Snowflower Diaries. It's a free sale that you can be a part of. And I am stitching this, all 12 of them on 32 count Picture List Plus Ren. Now, I have finished, let me start with, I have finished January. This is January. I'm going to turn this light on. See if that helps me get rid of that. Okay, there we go. January. And I've added a embellishment there. And then this is February. I've added some beads here. I stitch in hand mostly, but I was really struggling with these. I was getting the frames miscounted. I was missing, like this one has like somewhere in the middle, like one row where it's like over 3 threads, and I just made it work. You would never be able to see it, but I was really struggling with this fabric, stitching it in hand. So then I decided, okay, enough. I'm going to put it in a hoop. And that has helped a lot. It made it more enjoyable to stitch. But March, I am going to show you the picture of March. I thought I had. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay. Okay, this is what March is supposed to look like. And these flowers over here were like literally giving me fits. I have stitched or tried to stitch those at least 4 times. And had to take, I was miscounting. So that's as far as I've got done. It's got a hanging thread here. Well, this is a counting thread to help me with counting that out. Because on the other 2, I really had a lot of problems counting the frame out. So that's just to help me with that. And it was just so frustrating. I just put it in the naughty corner. Okay, I'm done. I'm not sure why I'm having such difficulty, because they're such beautiful, cute charts. But I had to kind of put it in the naughty corner for a while. I told you it's Pictures Plus 32 count Ren. The other thing is I've had over-dyed flosses from way back in the day, 25 years ago at least. And so I am just pulling from my stash, picking colors that I think closely resembles the picture in those ones. Next is, I wonder if, oh, okay, where is my piece here? Hang on. I'm just missing one. Okay. Where? Okay, friendship roll. It got put in the wrong spot here. Okay. So the next one is the friendship roll. This was a pattern that I won off of Sarah and Kim's channel. It's called Shepherd's Bush, and it's a needle roll. And okay, there we go. So it was very nice to win something off of their channel. And this is my start. So it was a little kit that I got. And it's super cute. And when I got it, I started it. And then just because we have so many whips, I just never have gotten back to it. But I really would like to get some of this done. Get back to this. It does have some other embroidery stitches. This is on linen. It's a linen. I actually don't know what count it is. There are some embroidery stitches like a herringbone, a buttonhole, lazy daisy, and some hem stitching. And it's got a few, Mill Hill beads that I put. And it's a kit from 1994. So I was very happy to have won that. It was great. Okay, moving along here. The next one is a bit of a heartache. It is called, I don't even have a picture of it, so I'm not going to, I won't be able to show you a picture, but there's also no stitching. In that, I started, it's called Thistle Manor by Blackbird Designs, and it is a free chart. And I started it on this piece of fabric that I had been given, I just had no end of grief with this fabric. So this is kind of what I had stitched. It is stitched with DMC, I think it's 4052. I think it's called Northern Lights. And I really liked it. It's like greens and reddish pinks. And, but I kept making mistakes. Down here, you don't know how many times I pulled out that pattern down there and restarted it, and it's still off. It's still off. And I just said, I am done. In fact, I just want to show you this, and I'm throwing this fabric away. I'm done with that fabric. And so what I am going to start it on is a scrap piece of, sorry, I got these mixed up here. This is just so I know where to start. I'm starting it on this scrap piece of linen that I have. I haven't counted the count right at the, no, I must have, because I've started it. So it's just a kind of a lemon yellow. I don't know if I wrote on the pattern. It is. It's 28 count. It's called Light Mustard. And I am using these colors. Cosmo Floss 665 and the variegation 5022. So that's what I'm using. And I think it goes in line more with the actual pattern because it's Thistle Manor. It's like it was done in blues originally, and I think I'm kind of like back to what it's supposed to be looking like. So that is that. Okay. Next is a pattern, and it is called Farmer's Market. It is a Carolyn Manning design. It's one of her shooting stars, and this is what it will look like. And I started this with my sister. I come from a family of 4 girls, and one of my sisters cross stitches. And so we started this together in December 26th of 2021, a Boxing Day start. And I'm doing it on 28 count mushroom Lugana. And I'm using Cosmo Floss with this. Now, Cosmo Floss was kind of new. Was new to me. I had been watching Jean Farish. She's on YouTube and talking about Cosmo Floss. So that's how I got introduced to it. And then I found a quilting store in Calgary, Alberta that sells Cosmo Floss. And so that's the only place that I can get it from, other than a place down in Ontario. And it's very expensive to ship and buy from them because you can't just buy 2 skeins of it. You have to spend at least $15 and etc. But if I email the gal in Calgary, the store is called Out of Hand Quilting, and I can email her a list of what I want, and she'll pull the threads and send them to me. So it's fantastic. And If I could afford to work with Cosmo Floss all the time, I absolutely would. It is very buttery. It's just beautiful. It's a Japanese cotton, and I love working with it. It's very good. Okay, that's Carolyn Manning. And both me and my sister are about the same on that. We'll stitch, like if we have a chance to FaceTime each other, and we'll stitch for a while or just chat on the phone. And then she'll say, well, how many stitches did you get in? And how many did I get in? And all the time she's usually kicking my butt because she's a way faster stitcher than me. So then I usually have to do some makeup stitches in between our visits to get it done. Okay, the next one is my leap year start. And this was such a cute chart. It was a very lovely chart that I had seen. And when it was coming out, I said, okay, I want to do this chart. Sorry, I'm just checking something. So it is called Susanna Walker. It's a reproduction sampler by Modern Folk Embroidery. And it's, I have it in a PDF pattern, and this is what the chart looks like. And it was actually the ladies' dresses were what really got me. That's why I wanted to stitch it. What does it say? I gotta take my glasses off. This needle worked of leaves and flowers, performed in my youthful hour, will testify the pains I took, as well with needle as with book. So that's the thing. And so it was February 29th, my leap year start. And I am doing it on 36 count country mocha linen. I'm using DMCs, but I'm also using one Cosmo floss. And here is where I'm at. Now this one, what I wanted to do was, I joined a Facebook group, and it was going to be where you started, and then you're going to be done in 4 years for the next leap year time. And so what I did was, I actually am stitching it off of the PDF, but I did print out the PDF, and I'm not going to show you the pattern, but I taped them all together, because back in the day, that's all we could do. I always made a working copy, and then you taped them together, and then you folded them up. So this is the pattern. This is how big the pattern is when you tape it all together. And then I've just drawn grid marks all through the pattern to chop it up into, 48 pieces or whatever, and to get each section done monthly, to have it done in 4 years from now. So that's sort of how I'm stitching that one. The other thing that I have in here is a little needle book that I made myself. And this is, I think it's a Sub Rosa. It's from a magazine. And so I made that. It's got a pin in it. And then on the inside, I have just some needles and just some little stuff. This was one of my sisters inherited my grandma's sewing box when she passed away. And when I was making this at her house, and she had a little piece of that. I asked her, could I cut off a little piece of that lace that she had, and she gave it to me, and then I just did a few embellishments. These here are little counting pins, but I find the pin is kind of short. They're more for decoration. They don't work as well, but they're kind of short. So, and then this is the back. And I just found some old-fashioned buttons. And this would be from my friend Kelly from Black Thread Studio. She loves when you find buttons with the old thread that's stuck on there. So that's for you, Kelly. I left those on there. So, okay. Now, the next one I'm going to show you is just a, I feel like I skipped one. Yeah, I did. Okay, sorry. I'm going to go back to this one because I have done that one out of turn. Okay, I forgot this one. So the next one I want to show you is another reproduction sampler, and it is called Anna Marie Pollard. This is the With Thy Needles Work. I should know her name. Sharon Hufstetler. So I bought it from her. She has more reproduction samplers, some very lovely ones. This one has also given me a lot of grief. For some reason, certain charts really, the counting goes well and some other ones don't go well. And this one was another one that I struggled. So that it was rough. So I can't find the thing. I kind of tried to get everything in order and iron everything and whatever. And now I'm like winging it because their stuff is not where it's supposed to be. This is done in the burgundy is a Mrs. Sadis silk, a dark burgundy of hers. And then the other is just Karen water lilies, a piece of silk, variegated silk that I had from way back in the day. And I didn't have a lot of it, but I knew I'd have enough for this. So certain letters I've done that represent people in my family, kids, parents, etc., kind of thing. So this is what I've got done. And, every time I pick it up, within the second day of working on it, I've made a mistake. So this was the last time, was right over here that I worked on, and it's one thing down. So it's like, okay, it's back in the naughty corner. It's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back with this pattern. And I have no idea why. It's the simplest pattern. I really like how it's laid out in like the little blocks here. I really like that's kind of different how the letters are in little blocks like that with the numbers at the bottom. And I quite like that. So I'm going to persevere. But yeah, and I have it on a frame. I have it on a scroll frame that I have this one on. So I just took that off. All right. Okay. All right. So the next one I want to show you is something that's actually just going to be a picture that I'm going to show you, because I'm almost done it. I'm very, very close to being done this one. So this one is called Guardian Angel, and it's a lavender and lace pattern from years ago, early 90s. Early 90s. I don't know if there's a date on there, and I won't take the time to look at it right now. But this is what it looks like done. It's an old lavender and lace, and I bought that, I want to say early 90s, like 92 or something like that. I might have bought it, when it came out. And I thought, oh my, I could never stitch that. I want to buy it, but I don't know. It was the most unbelievable pattern. It was just not overwhelming, but I just thought, oh, I don't have the skills, you know. And so then when I picked this out, I started it in 2021. A year after watching Flosstube and getting back into cross stitch, I'm like, I'm going to stitch that one. And when I pulled out the pattern, I ended up photocopying and make a huge working copy. And I'm like, this is just one cross stitch after another. I'm not sure why I thought like, oh, this is like an heirloom piece, which it sort of is. But I just thought at the time, like, oh man, like you have to be a master stitcher to do something like this. And then when I finally did crack on and do it, yeah, that was a big thing for me. This was also a pattern that back then, obviously in 2021, I was having to buy fabric online, as we all did. And we all know that, you know, the colors don't come out as good in person as what you see on your tablet or your phone or whatever. And so I had bought 2 other pieces of fabric trying to get something that this would look good on. And neither one of them were suitable. And I'm like, you know what? I can't afford to just keep buying more fabric looking for the one that's going to work. I'm going back to what the called for was, which thankfully was a normal, not normal, like a run-of-the-mill kind of thing. So it's just a 32 count natural raw linen. So let me show you the picture now. Sorry. Here we go. Okay. So this is where I'm at in this pattern. It's on a scroll frame. Maybe if I just stick it like that. So if it's on a scroll frame, and I just have this last corner of her dress to do. And the faces to do on this. So I'm really hoping that by the next time I film that I will have this one done. The whole time I've been stitching this one, I have not decided how I wanted to stitch the skin, because I have done it once years ago. I stitched a little angel for a friend, and a fellow nurse taught me how to do the 1/1. And that was the only time I've ever done it. But that was also when my eyes were like 30 or 20 years younger, 25 years younger. And so that's why I left the face of the angel and the little baby that she's holding, because I haven't decided if I'm going to do that. I have practiced in the margins of this one, so I feel like I could do it, but I'm not sure if that's what I want to do. So that's what I'm trying to decide. That's why I left them to the end. So I'm going to finish the dress here at the bottom, and then I'll do the faces. Okay. The last piece that I want to show you, and actually before I go on, I was going to say that back in the day, all we did have was paper patterns and photocopying them. I always did make a working copy to be able to mark off your stitches. Usually I used pencil crayon lightly. I don't know why I ever did not think of using a highlighter. I have no idea. But I used a pencil crayon, and so then you could mark off your stitches. One of the things about paper patterns that I find super satisfying is I cut off parts off my working copy as I complete them. And so I won't show you the pattern, but this is the part that I have left to stitch, and this is the leftover, other than the faces. I've kept the faces, but of this gigantic paper working copy, this is what I have left. So it's super satisfying to get this pattern down to this, and it's satisfying to cut off the starts you've done and whatnot. So that was fun. Okay, my last pattern is going to be a special one. I found out this year that I am going to be a grandma for the first time. Super exciting in August. My oldest boy and his wife are having a baby in August. And so I'm super excited. Couple things. She is Chinese, and this year is the year of the dragon. And I really wanted to start or do some kind of a dragon and then a baby sampler, like have it where you could adapt it a bit and put in like the details of the baby. So I kept looking and looking and looking and didn't find anything. And so when Chinese New Year came and went, I did not start anything because I couldn't find something I liked. Well, just not too long ago, Modern Fork Embroidery Jacob came out with Never Laugh at Live Dragons. And it's a quote from The Hobbit, which is The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings is my all-time favorite book in the world, other than the Bible. But anyway, my all-time favorite book to read. And so when I saw this, I'm like, that's the one. So this is the pattern. And all I'm going to do is extend the borders down, put the baby's details in here, and then put the border and then finish off, because the border is a repeating pattern. So it's quite, would be easy to do. And the other thing, Kaylee Tent Stitch is a gal out in Ontario that I had watched a few times on YouTube, and she was dyeing fabric. And so last year I was part of her fabric club for the year, and I got 12 pieces of her linen, of her fabric. I got a 32 count linen. And when I had collected them all, I have started one other one on her fabric, two other of her fabrics. And then when I saw this pattern, it came out, I'm like, that's the fabric to put the dragon on. So it is called Marrakesh to Casablanca. And this is my start. Now, I don't know. Let me see if I can try. Maybe that's making it worse now. But I don't know if you could see. Maybe if I go down here. Yeah, it's very... There's like these gold. So she's, you know, like they're like shapes. Gold shapes like this. And maybe I'll have to take and put on my Facebook page or my Instagram something that shows up those things better. I'm not sure if down here you can see them. It's maybe very hard to see. But they're like these gold shapes. And so this is my start. And I am doing this. This is my fancy bag it came in because I bought the flosses and it came in this bag. And I am doing them, with some Gloriana silks. One is a variegated and one is not. This one's poinsettia and this one is Schoolhouse Red. And I have lost, I've wound the thread on something that a good friend of mine, Sarah Brown, she is Stitching by Sarah on YouTube. Sarah, and she had given me this ivory, like, I don't even know what to say, but it was like this circular, well, no, like a cross looking thing. And I've wound my fabric on that, and I had kept it out to show you, and somehow I've lost it. So that's, I won't be able to show you another day. But that's what I keep the thread on, and that's what I'm doing. So that is all of my whips I'm going to show you today. One last thing that I wanted to show you was I had put a picture on my Instagram. Sorry. I've challenged myself. If you look on Instagram, I challenged myself. I laid out 12 projects in my kind of bin of shame, 12 projects that I want to have fully finished by the end of June. So I am working on that. I've got some finished. I'm not going to tell you how many, because I want it to be a surprise till the end of June, but I am working on those to get them completed. Some of them, 2 of them are charts. When I came back to cross stitching back in 2020, I pulled out where some of my supplies were. And funny enough, I did not have any whips left over from back in the day. Anything that I started, I had finished. But there were 3 things in there that I had not fully finished. And so 2 of them are in here. One, I'm going to put in a quilt type wall hanging, but these 2 I would like to get finished. So I'm trying to do that. So stay tuned for that. That's all I have for today. I want to thank you all very much. If you have stayed and watched me, thank you for your time and sticking around to watch me today. I am hoping to do a quilt tube as well, which means just to show my whips and things that I'm working on in quilting. And I think I'm going to alternate like about every 3 weeks. So I am hoping to put out a quilt tube on June 5th and then another floss tube on June 26th. For sure, crafting takes time. We work. We have families. My husband and I like to do archery. And so, we have a lot of things that we do. And that just is like the real time. Which leads me into why I changed my name. So when I started my YouTube, when I signed up for YouTube and also my Instagram, I was Heather Miller. And then I really wanted to start a floss tube. And so I had changed it to the Full Disclosure Stitcher. And at that time, the reason why I wanted to do that was because I was really challenging myself to be very aware of the amount of money that I was spending on my craft and writing down to the penny anything that I spent and being very honest about it. And it really has helped. I wanted to do that because as I approach retirement, the less I spend on crafts, the sooner I can retire. And so it was a personal goal of mine to just really be honest, brutally honest about what I was spending. Then after a while, I just kind of thought, the full disclosure, I don't know, it seemed like you could take that in a bad connotation. And so I'm like, I want to change it, but I didn't want to change it again until I absolutely knew this is what I wanted to change it to. And so just a couple of weeks ago, I thought, this is what I want to change it to. So I changed it to the Mirror Image Stitcher because I am left-handed. And basically when I sit across from a right-handed person that stitches, I stitch the mirror image of what you're doing. And funny enough, actually, I wasn't always so. I've obviously been a left-handed person my whole life. But when I first started stitching, I stitched like any other right-handed person. My top leg always went from the bottom right to the top left. And then when I had that 10-year break and I was coming back to it in 2020, I actually changed the orientation of my top leg. Now, that helps a lot so that as I'm stitching, my hand isn't always rubbing on my completed stitches. Now, being said, there are times when I do something different. I start in a different corner or whatever because I'm using a variegated thread or just that's the easiest place to count. And I thought that'd be another video. Why do you start in the place that you start in? But essentially that is why I decided to change it. And I felt like, yep, this is a name that I could now live with. And so that's why I changed my name to the Mirror Image Stitcher. So thank you for everything. Thank you for spending time with me today. And like I always tell my kids when they've come to visit or anybody comes to visit and they're leaving, thanks for coming and see you, love you, bye.